other motion and other view. Not in this one.
Not yet.
No.
You've not spoken.
No, not yet.
Any other member?
No? No? Let him continue.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ahmad Speaker. First of all, I wish to thank Yang Ahmad Chief Minister for being willing to accept the MP's calls to allocate funds for Chinese Middle School, and it has shown his willingness to accept new printing. Even though DAP has advocated for the funding of the Chinese Middle Independent School for many years, but for the Barisan National Government, it's something very new. The Sarawak government has to have new ideas and be more innovative in leading the development of the state in this postmodern world. So I hope that the Yang Ahmad Chief Minister will have the audacity to accept more new ideas from DAP. There are many obsolete ideas that are not matched for this day and age and are outdated. The Sarawak has to transform to become a Sarawak for new age. A government that has new ideas and new thinking is a government that is relevant to the modern age. Only then it can be close to the rakyat and help the rakyat live better lives. Therefore, in this city, I would like to propose 4 new constructive ideas. Number 1 is to provide free bus service for the initial 5 years. Beginning from Kuching, as the capacity of Kuching roads will not be able to handle the increase in traffic in the near 5 years. This is a report by Road Safety Board of Sarawak, just recently, 4th of November, saying that if there is no improvement in Kuching City's public transportation services, roads in Kuching will not be able to handle the increasing traffic, even to the point of a breakout. There are 3 major benefits to improve public transport services. Being relieving the economy, there's been three E's. Number 1 is economy, relieving the economic burden of riots. Number 2 is environment, to reduce the carbon emissions into the environment from the use of road. And number 3 is enjoyment of road use in terms of road safety. So the mobility of the people signifies the economic force of the city. And if there are restrictions in the movement of the people, it will affect the economy of the city, rendering the entire city unproductive. As the people are facing heavier and heavier economic burdens, the government has the responsibility to help to relieve this. Easiest way and most direct way is to relieve the burden of the rakyat, is to make possible for the household to not have to buy extra cars and thereby save on fuel expenses. Having a complete public bus system will give rakyat an alternative to use buses instead of cars. And this will directly help households to reduce the expenses, which is even more effective than Padungan Rakyat circulation. With 1 car less, a household could save at least 500 a month from paying car loans, insurance, fuel, and maintenance fee. A good government is not people having ability to buy cars, but ability to choose not to buy cars, despite able to do so. Our people is now forced to buy cars. The Sarawak government should not let private companies to become the authority on public bus service. Profit-driven companies will only provide bus services in profitable routes and hours. And many buses have no service after 5 p.m., causing major inconvenience for the people. With such an inconvenience, people have no choice but to buy cars, and therefore the congestion in Kuching. The second idea that I would like to propose is open tender. Open tender in all government contracts, state lands, and timber timber logging license. This is to ensure that the wealth of Sarawak will be fairly distributed to all Sarawakians, especially when the contract involves a large sum amount. So now the government is awarding the government contract by way of direct negotiation, which is a very opaque method, and many times the government cannot explain why some projects are given to a particular company. And if Yama Proforma Chief Minister is willing to be different from the previous administration and to be more transparent in his government, he needs to let go of all baggage and call open tenders to contractors who are truly qualified, to give every Sarawakian a fair opportunity to tender for government projects. It is to ensure that the Sarawak wealth is equally distributed to every Sarawakian. The Sarawak government needs to create more healthy competition among Sarawakians and not just award projects to a particular company without tendering. For example, all state roads are maintained by CMS Roads Central Berhad, a 15-year project 15-year concession lasting until the end of 2017, which was directly awarded on 1st of January 2003. Therefore, I am bringing up this in 2014 this year to remind the government that before renewing this contract in 2017, please consider to award such a big project to contractors through just, open and fair means. The maintenance project spans 4,973.47 km of state roads, and the maintenance fee cost the government 2,298.68 ringgit Malaysian per km every month. So I urge the state government to invite all qualified Sarawakians to bid through just, fair and open means, which is open tender, when appointing new contractors, so that everyone can see that there are no biases during the bidding process. 15 years is too long for such a contract and should be shortened to 5 years, so that the state government can constantly review the quality of the contractors. Other than that, this contract must also be fair to the state government. The government must have authority to control the qualifications of every aspect of the maintenance, failing which the state government must have the authority to terminate the service of the contractor. I would like to suggest that the state government have to partition the state roads into zones, the maintenance of the state roads into zones, and contracting it to different companies and not just awarding it to one company. By doing that, where more companies can be benefit from the government project, sharing the Sarawak economy pie equally with more people. Monitoring the quality of the road maintenance is also easier done with different companies on the board. Yama Proforma has given high hopes to the rakyat, drawing the line with corruption and colonialism. Therefore, I urge Yama Proforma Chief Minister to take this as an opportunity to prove that he is serious about fighting corruption and colonialism, as well as prove that his cabinet has this resolve. Not only open tender for the contracts, but also open tender for all the state lands and timber logging license. The third proposal, I would like to suggest for local authority to solve complaints through smartphone applications. The Sarawak government must use this to be nearer to the people and be even more efficient in handling the rakyat's complaints. I urge the Sarawak government to emulate the Penang government's success with the Better Penang, quote unquote, Better Penang smartphone application, both available in Android system and iOS system. This application is taken after the 311 application, the so-called 311 application used in many cities in Northern America, and has been proven to be effective in handling non-urgent complaints such as drain blockage, other similar problems. Many Sarawakians have been facing problems such as clogged drains, unmended roads, water accumulation on roads, fallen trees, etc. Even though these are small issues, but for the people who live in this reality every day, these are issues that affecting their lives. And yet, we see the local authority coming after assessment fee actively, while being so passive in handling the people's problem. Myself, I received 2 reminders from the beginning of the year from ADUN to remind me to pay assessment fee. Even the assessment fee has not been due. One is due in middle of the year and another one is end of the year. But why? I want to ask, how could NPKS charge after assessment fee with bigger, but cannot do the same for the people's program? I remind the local authorities that the assessment fee are for the authorities to be able to serve the people. Not forget, please don't forget this responsibility. Therefore, state government has to develop a smartphone application that is efficiently able to ensure that every complaint is duly handled. And just as in the Better Penang application, we can name our application as Better Sarawak. This application is user-friendly, the Better Penang application. For the old and the young, this application is simple to use. Has only 3 steps. Number 1, snap the picture. Number 2, tag the location. Number 3, pause it. Then upload it. So snap, tag, and post. 3 steps, a very simple 3 steps. Complainants will even use this application to track the progress of the complaint and the response of the local authority, making sure that the complaints are being handled. And this application also helps ministers to track the performance of the local authorities. The Sarawak government must be one that dares to innovate, be close to the people, and be able to provide the greatest convenience for the rider. The current method of calling into hotline is not only inefficient, there is also no way of tracking the progress of the complaint. Worse is that there is no one pick up the phone after 5 p.m. This so-called hotline, which is highly irresponsible. With this regard, the Young Performance Minister for Local Government and Community Development have to give explanation to such a poor service, why there is no one pick up the NPKS hotline, which I have tried a few times. Such a poor service have to be explained in this August House. The 4th proposal is that the state government should refrain from letting the private sector to take all housing developer projects. I suggest that the state government become a major housing developer in Sarawak. The state government shall involve majorly in this housing development in Sarawak. Private developers should be limited to only high-end housing development. Like Singapore, as I mentioned this morning, as an example, whereby 81.9% of the houses are built by the government's Housing Development Board, HDB, and less than 20%, which are mainly high-end housing, are built by the private developers. The government can provide affordable housing for the rakyat, giving the rakyat, especially young people, the power to buy homes. The remaining high-end housing and commercial lots could be passed on to private developers. There are many benefits to this. One of it is to minimize the cost of procuring the land, as the government has plenty of land. Sarawak is blessed with land, and with our low population density, the government has plenty of said land. With the government acting as a housing developer, it is sure that the houses are of better quality, given that the government has the power to blacklist low-quality contractors, which is more effective in quality control when left to private developers. Currently, there are a small group of low-quality developers who have caused many problems to the home purchasers. The government as a housing developer can also ensure that there are no abandoned housing projects, protecting the interests of the home purchaser. Many young people today face heavy economic burden because purchasing a house expected at least half of their income, monthly income. Some are even unable to purchase a mid-lot terrace house in Kuching would cost at least 400,000, whereas apartment would cost 500,000 and above. Buying a house has become an unattainable dream to many young people, and therefore the government cannot let the market dictate the house prices. The government must interfere so that everyone can be homeowner. So I just propose these 4 constructive ideas to the new administration of the state government. For other new ideas, can refer. I welcome all the Barisan National members, honorable members, to study our Bintulu Declaration, which is we just announced. The last issue. I'd like to touch on a case on Lot 3113, Block 26, Kemenang Land District in ADUN. Before I proceed on this issue, Dr. Ahmad Speaker, I would like to declare my interest. This is the land. This land is a subject matter of a court case in High Court Bintulu, in which I am the counsel in charge for 91 defendants. I'm acting for those defendants in pro bono basis, i.e. without accepting any conditional fees. Yes.
You are declaring your interest. You're not an advocate in this case.
I'm a counsel. I'm an advocate for this case.
In this case,
Yes.
then you are contravening the standing order.
That's why I declare my
Because there
interest.
will be a financial reward.
No.
No.
Dr. Ahmad Speaker, I'm doing this case in pro bono basis. Pro bono basis. I.e. without accepting any conditional fees. Apart from each defendant pay to DAT into 10 ringgit for my air ticket to Bintulu High Court. That's all. Even the filing fee of the cost letter are from my out of pocket. Thus, Speaker, in this case, it is an Order 89 Rules of Court 2012 case. A case of emission. I won't touch anything relating on emission because it's still a pending hearing. But I would like to.
Is it subjudice?
No, I won't touch anything on the emission. Because there is the right. I won't touch anything on the right of the provider of the land, which is a private company. But I will only touch on the responsibility of the government in this case. So hundreds of families have been staying on this land since 1980s, as early as 1980s. At that time, the land was a state land. Most of the occupants started staying there when they moved from their respective inland villages to be employed as an employee in LNG plants in Bintulu. LNG plant was in shortage of employees at the initial time, and the state government consented, either implied or expressly, those occupants to stay on the land. Besides consented to the occupation, the state government, through the Barisan National YBs, provide gravels to build roads accessing to the house. Also build small bridges, also supply treated water supply, and even supply egg zincs per house. Also build Balai Raya, Tatikat, Kemasne, etc. After a few decades, after the land was alienated to Menawan Megas on 15th of October 2010, at a premium way below the market price, the state government, the so-called Kerajaan Berjiwa Rakyat, now chose to ignore the plight of the occupants, leave them to helpless when the said Menawan Megas and the current provider is taking drastic action to try to evict those occupants and destroy the house. I urge the state government to step forward to help this group of helpless occupants by alienating to them a piece of land at that area for them to build their house. The state government is willing to give lands to a single company, a huge land to a single company with low premium. Why the government refuses to do the same thing to many of the occupants, and all of them are the Sarawakians, Many of the occupants include children, cried if Yama Brahma Chief Minister read from the newspaper. They cried to Yama Brahma Chief Minister for help. Then held placards, small kids held the placards stating, CN, please help us. So Yama Brahma